Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Swallowed Star 2, Land of Origin based on novel. So let's start. I'll pay. Luo Feng's palm enclosed the true god's heart, which echoed with a voice, and the face of Vice President Lai Mo that surfaced on it was filled with anxiety and panic. At such a time, the dignity of a strong person was dog shit. Vice President Lai Mo did not want to die at all. Where is the cosmic sand for the supplementary payment? Luo Feng asked. It's with the president has it. The face of Vice President Lai Mo on the true god's heart shouted urgently, President. His voice, imbued with the divine power of an eternal true god-level being, naturally carried far and wide. If not for the formation shielding every corner of the Dream Flower Tower, the sound would have traveled even farther. Whoosh! A figure with black scales had arrived at the doorway of the Orchid Star Hall. It was the Blood Python Association leader, Mu Yang. As the leader of one of the dark forces, although Mu Yang's body was covered with black scales, his aura was subdued, making him seem ordinary. But those with informed sources were well aware that Blood Python Association leader Mu Yang was one of the most formidable beings within Huyang City. His strength was unfathomable, and even the city owner's mansion had suffered losses at his hands. I will pay the 12,000 cosmic sand to make up for the shortage, and I kindly ask you to spare my brother. Blood Python Association leader Mu Yang said with a smile. Also, we would like to redeem that scepter weapon. Please name your price. The Blood Python Association leader is indeed straightforward, Luo Feng remarked, holding the true god's heart in his left hand and casually tossing the scepter weapon with a flick of his wrist. This scepter weapon can count for 6,000 cosmic sand. I haven't even given you the cosmic sand, and brother Luo, you've already returned the weapon. I admire that, I really do. Blood Python Association leader Mu Yang praised with a smile. He could fully predict the consequences of not providing the cosmic sand. Here are 18,000 cosmic sand. The Blood Python Association leader produced a black bottle in his hand, which flew toward Luo Feng. As Luo Feng swept over it with his divine power, he confirmed it contained precisely 18,000 grains, not one more, not one less. Luo Feng caught the black bottle with his right hand and flung the true god's heart with his left. The true god's heart turned into a streak of light, and flew into Vice President Lai Mo's body. Lai Mo quickly stood up, now looking at Luo Feng with fear. During the negotiation, the other eternal true gods didn't dare to speak out. They were afraid that any mishap might incite Luo Feng's wrath upon them. Brother Luo, his strength is truly admirable. It's only right that 2,000 cosmic sand go to you, said Blood Python Association leader Mu Yang. We will take our leave from tonight's 100 Flowers banquet. After speaking, the Blood Python Association leader walked out. Vice President Lai Mo followed him, and the Dream Flower Tower master could only watch from the side. Luo Feng looked at the black bottle in his hand. This president is quite tolerant, Luo Feng thought. Among the more than 10 eternal true gods who participated in the 100 Flowers banquet, based on the intelligence he knew, the most powerful and wealthiest should be none other than Blood Python Association leader Mu Yang. Although the two eternal true gods from the Tsumeng royal family had high statuses, the Tsumeng royal family within Huyang City had more than 10 eternal true gods, and the secret techniques they cultivated consumed a lot of resources. How much could they have left? But the Blood Python Association leader monopolized power, long exploiting the myriad clans cultivators of Huyang City, so his accumulated wealth was naturally immense. River god Luo, the Dream Flower Tower master approached. It's not suitable to stay any longer tonight. Dream Flower Tower master, I shall take my leave now, Luo Feng said as he got up. The other eternal true gods were watching him from afar, so he couldn't continue to listen to the music. Luo Feng left with Mo Li Meng, and the Dream Flower Tower master could only follow to see them off, even promising, "Rest assured, God Luo He, we at Dream Flower Tower will take good care of Araya in the future." The Dream Flower Tower master was indeed somewhat nervous. There was no helping it. Having seen Luo He effortlessly extract Vice President Lai Mo's true god's heart, she couldn't help being nervous. This Lord Luo He is too powerful. The Dream Flower Tower master watched Luo Feng and his companion leave. He must be among the very top of Huyang City, but why did he lose control under my illusion technique? What an exciting night at the 100 Flowers banquet. The conflict eventually saw the Blood Python Association bowing their heads. The two eternal true gods from the Tsuming clan started chatting and standing up. Whether it was Luo Feng's action, or the Blood Python Association leader Mu Yang's compliant compensation, both were intriguing to them. Ahead of the dark forces bowing and paying. How rare. Lord Luo, his strength is truly terrifying. Did he lose control in the illusion because of a flaw in his spirit, or did he do it on purpose? These eternal true gods, one by one, got up. They no longer had the mood to continue at the banquet. "Lord Luo, his strength surpasses mine," Lord Baiwu commented quietly. Blood Python Association leader is extremely powerful, yet he had to cede. As part of Huyang City's dark forces, Lord Baiwu certainly understood how fearsome the Blood Python Association leader was. If the Six Lords Alliance's six eternal true gods were nearly equal in strength, combining to exert formidable influence, then the Blood Python Association, predominantly, drew its might from the Blood Python Association leader's personal power, with the two vice presidents being far inferior. Whoosh! 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 One by one, these eternal true gods began to leave, discussing among themselves, or weighed down with thoughts. Only two eternal true gods, Shong Qianyang and Sang Shuiyun, lingered, still enamored by the Dream Flower Tower master. "This brother Luo, he that I've recently become acquainted with, has extraordinary strength," Shong Qianyang exclaimed. "He was even willing to have a drink with me and acknowledge me as a friend. How could someone as strong as him lose control in an illusion technique?" Sang Shuiyun, the winged man, said with a despairing look in his eyes filled with confusion, "An eternal true god might have a weak will, but such a powerful eternal true god cannot possibly have a weak will." "That's right, whether it's refining the bloodline of exotic beasts, or cultivating powerful secret techniques, both require great willpower," Shong Qianyang said. "But he just lost control," Sang Shuiyun said. "We both saw it." Shong Qianyang was stunned for a moment, then nodded. "Yes, he indeed lost control just now." "I don't understand," Sang Shuiyun said, his eyes full of confusion. "Sometimes, losing control isn't necessarily because the illusion is too strong," Shong Qianyang said. "It might also be because he chose to immerse himself in it." "Immerse himself?" Sang Shuiyun turned to look at Shong Qianyang. "Is there something he's pursuing in the illusory realm?" Shong Qianyang, catching sight of the Dream Flower Tower master approaching from afar, immediately brightened up and quickly called out, "Tower master." Sang Shuiyun's gaze softened a few degrees as he looked towards the Dream Flower Tower master. Asterisk 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 asterisk. Blood Python Association headquarters. This time our Blood Python Association has lost face, being utterly outdone by a new eternal true god. Even President Mu Yang had to personally apologize. The god figure couldn't help but say, "Who was the other vice president, Mu Lin? This incident happened in the Dream Flower Tower, and so many eternal true gods saw it. It will spread throughout all of Huyang City's powers overnight." Vice President Lai Mo and President Mu Yang both remained very quiet. "Lai Mo, is he really that strong? To take away your true god's heart in one move?" Vice President Mu Lin pressed on. "Would I lie about such a thing?" Vice President Lai Mo snapped, embarrassed and furious. Enough. President Mu Yang looked out the window and said, "Let's put an end to this matter right here." Vice President Mu Lin looked at his fellow clansmen in surprise. Are we going to let this Luo He, who just popped up from nowhere, keep pushing the Blood Python Association around? A regular eternal true god daring to defy us certainly cannot be tolerated, President Mu Yang said calmly. But for an eternal true god, who could take away Vice President Lai Mo's true god's heart in one move, it's not shameful for us to yield and bear with it. President Mu Yang gazed out the window. Moreover, I can tell he was waiting for me to make my move. He lurks in the shadows while I'm in the light. He knows a lot about me, yet I know nothing about him. Of course, I can't make a move. Just wait, once I understand his background. President Mu Yang's eyes were ice-cold. I will make him pay the price. Sir, the noelfire.nt website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. So many eternal true gods witnessed this conflict, and as the word spread from 10 to 100, virtually all the well-informed powers within Huyang City received detailed reports of the incident that night. Every faction also memeized the name Luo He. Within a small building in the Flame Wind Pavilion. This Luo He is really interesting, the master of the Flame Wind Pavilion said, looking at the latest report. He lost control to the music and illusion technique of the Dream Flower Tower master. Yet the next moment, without using any secret treasure weapons, he simply reached out his hand and took the vice president of the Blood Python Association's True God's heart. A figure shrouded in grey mist calmly organizing the report said, he made his move right in front of Blood Python Association's President Mu Yang, clearly prepared for a proper fight. But Mu Yang backed down, bowed his head. Uncle, who do you think is stronger between the two of them? The master of the Flame Wind Pavilion asked curiously. The Blood Python Association has a lot of powers coveting its territory, and the 5 great families have taken drastic actions. But from what we've investigated in the Flame Wind Pavilion, President Mu Yang has survived several assassination attempts, and even killed several eternal true gods from the 5 great families. To this day, we still haven't fully figured out his real capabilities, the grey figure said. As for this other Luo He, we know almost nothing about him. He's very mysterious. Who's stronger? Only a fight would reveal that, the figure enshrouded in grey mist said. Knowing President Mu Yang of the Blood Python Association, this matter won't just end like this, the master of the Flame Wind Pavilion said with expectation in his eyes. Inside Primal Chaos Armor Number 3 Superlarge Cave Mansion. Moly Meng, looking at the latest intelligence sent by the city owner's mansion, was surprised. This Luo He actually managed to overpower the Blood Python Association. And the city owner's mansion upgraded his rating to Grade A directly. The city owner's mansion rates each eternal true god from high to low in 4 levels, Grade A, B, C, and D. The highest, Grade A, represents an eternal true god that not even a dispatched Huyang Legion could handle. Inside the Fire Realm restaurant, a secluded little building. These past 2 days, many forces in Huyang City have been visiting Brother Luo He, said Shong Qianyang, sitting opposite Luo Feng, with Suo Zi dutifully serving food and fine wine by their side. As for the servant Morosa, he could only wait outside the building. Quite a few forces have directly come to my cave mansion for visits. When I go to the Dream Flower Tower, similarly, there are forces waiting there as well. That's why I'm hiding out in this Fire Realm restaurant. This little restaurant, at least, is peaceful and quiet. Luo Feng remarked wistfully. Ha ha, the moment you forced the Blood Python Association to bow their heads and make amends, you became one of the few top figures in Huyang City, laughed Shong Qianyang. I don't know how many eternal true gods are envious. Us common eternal true gods can't compare to Brother Luo He when it comes to influence. There were profound gaps even among eternal true gods. Disparities in the strength of a godly body, gaps in the quality of weapons, secret treasures and armor, differences in secret techniques, levels of laws, variances in bloodline talents, different willpower. Various factors made the disparity staggeringly vast. If I'm not mistaken, the city owner's mansion has likely already upgraded your ranking to Grade A, Shong Qianyang said. Grade A? Luo Feng asked curiously. An eternal true god that a Huyang legion can't do anything against is generally considered Grade A. At that level, the city owner's mansion won't take action lightly either, explained Shong Qianyang. Luo Feng thought for a moment and then said, a Huyang legion is led by a top eternal true god, with tens of thousands of true gods of void space, and tens of millions of elite true gods controlling the legion mechanical secret treasures. When the legion's power is unified, the force it can unleash already possesses a portion of the primal chaos realm's might. With Brother Luo his strength, even if you can't resist head-on, you can always employ hit-and-run tactics, making a Huyang legion helpless against you, Shong Qianyang said with a smile. You didn't use any weapon secret treasures, and with just one hand, you captured Vice President Lai Mo's true god's heart. Anyone can see that once you fully unleash your power, you can still contend with a Huyang legion using various secret techniques even if there is a gap. Luo Feng just smiled and said nothing. The Huyang legion is strong head-on. In terms of quantity and purity of divine power, the multitudes of eternal true gods of void space, and masses of true gods all amounted to less than himself. It was merely that their mechanical treasure was somewhat stronger than his own Showu wings. A head-to-head confrontation wouldn't exhaust him, but would be something a Huyang legion couldn't bear in terms of the cost. Looking at your smile, you don't seem to take a Huyang legion too seriously, said Shong Qianyang as he raised his cup. To this, we should drink. Drink, Luo Feng replied with a laugh, toasting with him. But Brother Luo don't ever underestimate the city owner's mansion. Huyang's 10 great legions, the Huyang Guards. These are just the overt deterrent forces, Shong Qianyang said. This large city, which has been built and refined over endless ages, is one of their real points of reliance. If truly pressed, I'm afraid a primal chaos overlord, or even a godly king, might come tearing through space to arrive. I'm not that foolish to provoke the city owner's mansion needlessly, acknowledged Luo Feng. Of course, the entire Zhujiang Primal Chaos Prefecture is the fief of the Marquis of Zhujiang. Who is the Marquis of Zhujiang? Unless there's a major issue, it's unlikely he'd come rushing to Huyang City, continued Shong Qianyang. So as long as you don't challenge the city owner's mansion's rule, there's no need to fear provoking a primal chaos overlord. But remember one thing. Shong Qianyang's expression turned much more serious. Please speak, Brother Shong, said Luo Feng. Never get involved in the conflict between Shi Kingdom and Yu Kingdom, whispered Shong Qianyang. That is the most fearsome whirlpool of Huyang City. Once you get caught in it, no matter how strong you are as an individual, you could be ground into dust. Conflict between Shi Kingdom and Yu Kingdom? Luo Feng asked, curious. Since its establishment, Shi Kingdom has been expanding and encroaching on its neighbors. It now borders our Yu Kingdom, so naturally, there are many conflicts, Shong Qianyang explained. As a large border city, Huyang has never stopped its covert conflicts. For example, the Zonyun Commerce Chamber is a commerce chamber of Shi Kingdom. Luo Feng nodded and said, the chairman of the Zonyun Commerce Chamber visited my cave mansion yesterday, but I didn't pay much attention to him. Simply because the other party was from Shi Kingdom, Luo Feng was unwilling to get too involved. That's the right approach, Shong Qianyang said. As a large border city, normal trade can't be forbidden by Yu Kingdom. Zonyun Commerce Chamber acts very respectably on the surface, but Shi Kingdom has long sent a batch of eternal true gods into the city in secret. Whenever Shi Kingdom wishes, they can always summon more powerful forces here, said Shong Qianyang. This is also the biggest trouble for Huyang City. Someday, if the two divine kingdoms go to war, it would be normal for this place to be ground to dust. Shang Qianyang sighed and lifted his cup. He had spent most of his life in Huyang City, and naturally did not wish to see Huyang turned to ruins. There's nothing we can do about the conflicts between the two divine kingdoms. We can only go with the flow, Luo Feng said, drinking with him. He really liked Shang Qianyang as a friend, straightforward in character, and when Luo Feng asked about problems with body refinement, Shang Qianyang didn't beat around the bush. As one of the top artifact refining masters in Huyang City, Shang Qianyang was much stronger than Luo Feng in artifact refining. With no master to guide him, it was natural that Luo Feng would come across some difficulties in his own understanding of the primal chaos great strength diagram. A few words from Shang Qianyang, however, could reveal the key points to him. If Luo Feng had immersed himself in research, his solid grasp of the laws would have eventually led him to comprehension, but it would have taken longer and involved some detours. See a THOverfire.net website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Grateful for the guidance, Luo Feng cherished this friendship deeply. The two of them ate, drank, and chatted, gaining a report on the situation in Huyang City. But more importantly, talking with Shang Qianyang allowed Luo Feng to gain a deeper understanding of the various forces in Huyang City. Not to mention, this restaurant has its own unique charm, praised Shang Qianyang, standing up to leave. I like it here too. Their roasted meat is robust enough, said Luo Feng. His perfect divine body was so powerful that ordinary delicacies felt too weak and bland. The two of them talked as they walked out of the little building, and Morosa quickly stowed away the wine pitcher as they did. At that moment, Luo Feng and Shang Qianyang both saw a woman with a fluffy tail ahead, accompanied by a guard. This is Jiarong Qi from the Jiarong family, the daughter of Jiarong Yang, Shang Qianyang introduced. I have seen Uncle Shang, Jiarong Qi said with a smile and a polite bow. Are you here to visit Brother Luo He? Shang Qianyang asked with a smile. How did you find your way here? Jiarong Qi quickly explained. I heard about the Supreme Lord Luo He being at the Dream Flower Tower and really wanted to visit. Later, I learned from my guard that Supreme Lord Luo He might come to the Fire Realm restaurant. Luo Feng watched the scene with interest. The guard beside the woman was none other than the young true god, Suo Yun, whom he had saved from a tribal squad before. Supreme, Suo Yun hastily explained with respect, I share a residence with Brother Suo Zi, and during a conversation, I accidentally learned of your visit to the Fire Realm restaurant. Quite the coincidence, Luo Feng said, looking at the woman with the fluffy tail. Jiarong Qi, what brings you to find me? To request mentorship. Her eyes shining brightly, Jiarong Qi said, I wish to take you, Supreme, as my master. Your father is an eternal true god, and yet you come to take me as your master. Luo Feng looked at her. My father excels in alchemy, but is not skilled in combat, Jiarong Qi said with a respectful bow. I am willing to offer 5,000 cosmic sands, merely hoping to be accepted as your disciple. Luo Feng shook his head and looked at Shang Qianyang. Brother Shang, let's go. Without trying to persuade him, Shang Qianyang understood that accepting a disciple was a very serious matter, and he flew off with Luo Feng. Supreme, Jiarong Qi called out urgently, please give me a chance, an opportunity to be tested. Dreaming of becoming a disciple of my master. Pretty wishful thinking. Morosa glanced at Jiarong Qi, and then followed Luo Feng as they left. Jiarong Qi stood still, then after a moment, turned and instructed as she walked away, Suo Yun, you continue to stay at the Fire Realm restaurant. As soon as you spot Supreme Lord Luo He, inform me immediately. Yes, the guard Suo Yun responded respectfully, watching as his mistress departed. Suo Yun, Suozi approached. How could you carelessly spread the word that the Supreme is here? The guard Suo Yun looked at his brother, retorting, my mistress wanted to visit the Supreme and bore no ill will. Why shouldn't I speak of it? We run a restaurant business, and we should guard the privacy of our esteemed customers, Suozi admonished. I told you in confidence, because you are my brother. You didn't even let me know before telling your mistress the news. Suo Yun scoffed, the Supreme didn't blame me, yet you, as my brother, are blaming me. The Supreme may be amiable and not blame you, but if you encounter someone with a bad temper, you'd be done for. Suozi said urgently, in Huyang City, especially in matters involving eternal true gods, caution can never be excessive. Being cautious all the time, when can we make a breakthrough? Suo Yun said coldly, we must seize opportunities when they come. Just for this piece of news, I've already been granted a secret technique. Suozi was taken aback. Having come from their tribe to Huyang City, and after identifying their bloodlines, they sought to acquire secret techniques suitable for themselves. But good and suitable secret techniques were prohibitively expensive. Suo Yun has already acquired a secret technique. Suozi felt mixed emotions at the moment. On one hand, he was happy for his brother, yet he could also feel the gap between them widening. He was still an apprentice, painstakingly saving up to purchase secret techniques with primal chaos crystals, anticipating a long and arduous process ahead. The clan leader said, one must be cautious and prudent in Huyang City. No rush. I have a long life ahead. I can spare the time. Suozi suppressed his emotions. Blood Python Association headquarters. These past 2 days, the most famous person in all of Huyang City has been that Luo He. Vice Chairman Mu Lin shook his head. Mention of Luo He will always bring up our Blood Python Association. Can you shut up? Vice President Lai Mo snapped irritably. I don't care about these rumors, said Chairman Mu Yang, frowning. What bothers me is that we paid out 20,000 cosmic sands in compensation. I am too poor now. Every single cosmic sand is precious to me. Vice Chairman Mu Lin and Vice President Lai Mo looked at each other. We've both run out, Vice Chairman Mu Lin quickly stated. Chairman, whatever I could lend, I already did, and this time you paid 18,000 cosmic sands for me, which means you still owe me 5,000 cosmic sands, Vice President Lai Mo said. Both vice chairmen were somewhat puzzled by the continuous poverty of Mu Yang, the chairman who controlled most of the association's resources, making them apprehensive to lend him anything more. This video will end here.